Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, episode 229.
What?
Woo!
I'm Chris, and joining me as always are...
Ames.
Caitlin.
And... Jake.
Damn. It's quite a lung capacity you have there.
What?
Oh no, we've winded Jake.
Well, there's a long intro coming, so he'll have a break.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on this week.
Oh, yes. So here we go. We are diving into the 10-part home stretch of Deep Space Nine.
No,
Wow.
I don't want it to be over.
So with that in mind, we're just kind of treat this like a two-parter and just kind of describe both episodes, Penumbra and Til Death Do Us Part, as one kind of big unit as best we can. Because, oh boy.
Speaking of big units.
Yeah. So, where even to begin? I guess we'll start with plot A, because it's the one that comes in order, not necessarily because it's the A plot. Worf has gone missing. Ezri decides, I don't know, I guess Jadzia's ghost is yelling at her a lot, so she's gonna look for him, even after the Defiant is like, we can't fucking find him, because there's a big battle, and they picked up all the not life preservers, escape pods they could. Yes,
Yeah.
The Klingons apparently have escape pods, but they didn't find Worf. So Ezri brings a runabout to the Badlands, and Sisko doesn't even pretend to give a fuck that yet another of his staff members has stolen a runabout and gone against orders.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. And then she decides the Badlands are like a river, and their eddies never change, so she turns off her engines, and that idiot plan for jerks actually works. And she finds Worf's escape pod, and she beams him on board, and things are awkward. And then they're attacked by Jem'Hadar, and they beam down to a planet, but neither of the idiots brings a proper communication device. And they get all
I thought you brought it.
Yeah, and they get all snippy at each other, because earlier Worf had admitted, like, I kind of regret telling you to stay, and yada yada, and then they hate fuck. And we all go, oh no. And somehow Ezri survives.
Oh, not me. I didn't go, oh no.
And
I went,
then-
you gross.
And then they are shot and kidnapped by Breen, of all people.
Breen.
And we're like, oh, yeah, it's those Princess Leia cosplayers. What are they doing here? And, they're
Suddenly
on a
they're important.
Yeah.
Who saw that coming?
Only me, because I remembered. But yes, so they're on a Breen ship. At one point, I don't know, Ezri has a nightmare, or Worf has a nightmare.
Everyone has a nightmare.
Suddenly dream interpretation is a thing, because it's 1890 and we're Sigmund Freud.
I have a note.
But then also they're, like, tortured by the Breen, which brings out things. And as Caitlin put it, Worf is made to believe the worst thing of all, that Alexander matters. While Ezri, like, wants to fuck Dr. Bashir all of a sudden. And Worf has gone all Klingon Catholic again and is like, but we fucked. We were going to be together forever. And now you want to fuck Julian and whatever. Anyway, that pain ends when the Breen haul them out of their cell and they beam aboard a Jem'Hadar ship where they are met by Weyoun. And they're all like, we got gifts for you. And Weyoun's like, gifts? He's like, gasp, Starfleet people. Well, you're here to witness the joining of the Breen with the Dominion. This changes everything. And we all go, really?
I wanted the gifts to be cake.
Seriously. Which leads us to, I guess, plot the B, sort of, which is shit going down on Cardassia and stuff. The founders still aren't well. Damar is still chafing under Dominion's orders.
And drinking.
So
heavily.
much drinking. Then Dukat shows up, and he's all like, what up, bitches? And Damar's like, you were a leader of Cardassia, you could be again. And he's all, nah, I'm totally into the power wraiths now. And Damar's like, oh, this is a new level of fucking weird. But even so, he helps Dukat find a plastic surgeon who turns him into a Bajoran.
Hot.
And he's all like, I got a plan. And Damar's like, I really don't like any of this. So, oh god, now it splits.
So many plots.
That's basically the last we see of Damar, I think, until again later on where the Breen change everything. So then, oh Christ, plot the C and B part 2, I guess. Jesus. Short version, Sisko has bought some land on Bajor, asks Kasidy to marry him. Kasidy's like, fuck yeah. Then the prophets are like, hi, Ben. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, what, Ma? Because it's specifically Sarah. And she's like, if you marry Kasidy, sorrow follows. And he's like, oh, this is awkward. Plus they want to have like a small wedding, but all of Bajor wants it to be like the royal fucking wedding and yada yada.
51 bridesmaids.
Yeah. Eventually Kai Winn shows up to be all like, oh, I see you asked Vedic somebody or other to administer. You must have thought I'd be too busy, but I can do it.
How
and
can
he's
I
all
make
like,
your wedding about me?
Yeah, and he's all like, oh, thank God the wedding's off. Not that he actually mentions that to her at the time, but she does mention, how she's never had a prophet vision again, just in case you forgot. And 30 seconds later, she has a prophet vision?
Ba-da.
Probably not. It's probably the paw wraiths. Because first of all, they're a little too straightforward to be prophets.
True.
And second of all, everything they say conveniently lines up with Damar's fake persona and a bunch of crap he says.
Dukat.
Did I say Damar?
You did.
Dukat gets there and is like, I'm going to say all these keywords the paw wraiths dropped. And she's all like, oh my God, I bet you're here to help me.
I'm just picturing it as like all the right-wing buzzwords.
Pretty much.
Race theory.
Yeah. So now she's like enthralled with this guy and is convinced like he's here to help her restore Bajor, does get into a little critical racism with he's not really one of us, is the emissary. He didn't suffer through the occupation like we did and blah, blah, blah. So now Kai Winn and Dukat, who is going under the name Anjo are going to team up, so I'm sure that's going to end just brilliantly for everyone. Ben calls the wedding off for a few minutes and then is like, this is stupid. So there's a small,
you, Mom.
Intimate ceremony in one of the, conference rooms. God, is that everything?
Is a wet blanket whoa.
Well, she's concerned.
I prefer prophets.
Yeah. I think is that everything? Did I leave anything out?
God damn it. Probably, but we'll talk about it.
Those are the big points, I think. So yeah, there we go. And I just got one thing I've been wondering.
Yeah.
You suppose on the first day where Alema was coming in for just Bajoran makeup, he passed by Casey Biggs, who'd already been there for 2 hours, and was like, what's up, buddy? I do like to think he rubbed it in a little that he had less makeup today.
Yeah, this is the most we've seen of his face since the Far Beyond the Stars.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say Time Zero.
Well, also Time Zero. But yeah.
Actually, being fair, it's the most we've seen of his face ourselves, not strictly as Star Trek viewers, since we 10-forwarded Total Recall.
The for me, I think Mark Alemo is better looking as a Cardassian than as a human.
Well, 110%.
Yeah.
He is. I said that when we saw him last time. I don't know if he had really bad acne or really bad chicken pox or what, but he's very craggy and he is not a good looking man.
Well, I mean, also just his 40-mile-long neck just works better with ridges, I think.
Oh,
that's also true.
Fair.
Yeah, it's a little...
Or as a runway for me to land right on his face. but listen, he's got a face made for sitting on. Then you don't got to look at him. It's perfect, really.
Yeah, and now he's got the Bajoran ridges.
Sorry, Markle. Oh yeah, for her ridged for her pleasure. It's perfect.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think Dukat playing Angel Tenon is so fascinating because I don't think he knows the plan, the paw wraiths, because if it's not the paw wraiths, I'll eat all the hats.
Same.
Paw wraiths.
That he doesn't know to say
wraith.
to say restoration and farmer and all the of the land 8,000 times. He walks in because the paw wraiths have set this up because they know how time works.
Well, I'm sure the paw
smartly.
wraiths told him to be like, oh yeah, mention these things when you see Kai Winn.
Yeah, I kind of think
they went
they'd
to Kai
given
Winn
him... Yeah, I'd assume there was a bit of a sit down.
Oh, maybe.
So that's interesting because I kind of feel like much like everything else, Gul Dukat thinks that he knows about Bajoran culture and how important he is and how good he is to them. I kind of assumed that the being in communion with the Pa-wraiths thing was bullshit too. That he's just telling himself because he's got this weird, like, savior of the Bajoran people.
Well, no, but remember that a few weeks ago, he really does seem to believe.
Okay, but if he really seemed to believe, why was he making people poison themselves?
Because the Pa-wraiths told him to.
Sure they did. I don't
think
believe
they
that.
did.
I don't know.
No.
I
I'm too
think
cynical.
his dick fucking told him to, because he was like, oh, these people believe in the Pa-wraiths. Everyone thinks I'm great. Bet I can get my dick wet. Oops.
I mean, even if he doesn't. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm too cynical. I think Dukat. I think he believes in the Pa-wraiths, obviously, because they are actually real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
inhabited him.
But it's also, to him, it's a means to an end. I don't think for a second that he is a devout worshiper of the Pa-wraiths as
Absolutely.
he presents himself. I think he is a devout worshiper of Gul Dukat,
Yeah,
Correct.
that's
and will do whatever he can to further the interests of Gul Dukat.
yeah,
Agreed.
that's kind of what I was gonna say, and that fits because that was what the alliance with the Dominion was.
Okay, why was he earnestly praying to them a couple of weeks ago then?
I think he was building. I think he was trying to get. I don't know. I think he was.
He's got to put on a
Playing
show
a
for
role.
them.
Yeah, I was
just
going to
as
say, was
much
this
as-
not a show? Yeah.
I mean, he did pray in his own
self-interest?
area, but again, I think he was praying because he legitimately wanted help from the Pa-wraiths,
Yeah.
who are real.
Yeah, like he recognizes they exist and they have crazy powers he can't comprehend, but there's probably a part of him, however incorrectly, that believes he can, like, then just kind of set them aside when he's done with them or somehow gain their power, It's like when Jafar wishes to be a genie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I assume the Pa-wraiths told him, hey, stick with us and we'll put you back in charge of Bajor.
Yeah. Like, I don't think of
we're going to get rid of the prophets. We're going to take over the Celestial Temple. We're going to get rid of all the Kai Winns and shitheads. And then at the end of the day, the one left standing is going to be Gul Dukat on the
Yeah.
pile of bones of Bajor.
Yeah, and
Yep.
speaking of Kai Winn, like, she is so blinded. Like, she
Oh, yeah.
is so easily played because she's the same way. She's looking for things that aggrandize her.
Yep.
She's looking for things that are like, Kai Winn, you're so important. You're better than Sisko. Anytime anyone says, boo Sisko, she's like, yeah, you're right, because I'm right.
Yep.
Fuck that
Well,
guy.
and I at first when she, like, once again was like, oh, I would have no idea what the prophets are like because they don't fucking call me ever. And then 2 seconds later, she got a call from them. I was like, oh, that can't be right. That can't be really them. And at first I was annoyed that she was repeating herself because I was like, this is really sloppy writing. Every time someone mentions the prophets, she's like, I don't know. They don't talk me. They don't ever talk to me at all. And, so I was like, why the fuck are we saying this again? But then they were talking to her and it obviously was not them. But she was really into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Put her face all over it.
Oh, yeah. And then she is definitely DTF.
Oh, yeah.
Dukat, I don't know if he actually is, but he's certainly putting on a good face.
It's another Bajoran for him to fuck. It's fine.
Yeah,
Literally, I was like, this man will fuck anything that is Bajoran and has a pulse.
but she's age appropriate, whereas I feel like he likes them on the wrong side of legal.
Well, she's like older than him, actually, as we
Yes.
noticed. And I also feel like she looks older, even more older than him than she is. Because apparently at the time of filming, Chris looked it up, she's only 7 years his senior.
Yeah,
but
but
I
at the
would have
same
guessed
time-
it was way more than that.
But at the same time, it's also him fucking power.
True.
Like that, like he is
Oh, yeah,
suddenly
that's true.
like playing a impoverished farmer who's been affected by blights and saying like, I can fuck the most powerful woman on Bajor.
I'm a fucking
And
the Pope.
she has no idea.
Oh yeah. I also just wonder though if in universe if Kai Winn is actually supposed to be his contemporary in terms of age, just because we've already seen that even 20 some odd years earlier Dukat looked exactly the same. So he may actually be a lot older than he presents.
Yeah, I guess that's true. His age as an actor in human years does not necessarily have anything to do with his age in on-show Cardassian years.
Yeah,
Sarek was 200.
I don't think they've ever firmly stated a Cardassian or Bajoran lifespan, for that matter. I mean, obviously there was that guy that Kira was chummy with, but he died of a disease, and we don't know how old he was even then.
Mm.
And we posited, and I think it's still likely that, they probably look pretty good throughout most of their lives because they can shed.
Yep.
Which explains all of Zial's faces.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a slow burn. I was like, what's she talking about? Then I was like, oh, wait, I get it.
Hey.
But yeah, really what Dukat's working on is trying to figure out the ultimate thing, which would be a three-way with him, Kai Winn, and President,
Sisko.
what's his name?
Oh, President, what? The mule, the wildebeest guy?
No, the head of the Bajoran government.
Oh, Shakar?
Thank you. Could not think
Okay.
of his name. Because that way it's all the power.
I don't know. I think both of them, if they could get Sisko in their bed, they would just tie him up and leave him there forever.
Well,
I'm kind of just waiting for him to try to fuck Kira, because I feel like this could be the perfect last-ditch effort.
Oh, God.
I feel like, and again, this isn't me remembering if they actually encounter one another at all. This whole thing is a huge blur, but I feel like she would somehow know it's him. She'd hear it in the voice or see it in his eyes.
Sounds exactly the same. I mean, she would know.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Kai Winn didn't, recognize him.
Well, it's like you said, she's just willing to see what she wants to see.
Yeah, true.
I would say she might have thought for a second, he sounds like some evil dictator I know. Nope, never mind. It must be my imagination.
Yeah, but
she's just
the
willing
phrase of the land, everything else goes out the window.
Yeah, she's super willing to, like you said, to lie, to be lied to and to lie to herself.
And to be lied
yeah.
upon.
Yeah.
Gross.
Her little servant man seemed a little more skeptical of this new
Solbar? Yeah, he's not into it.
Well, his mama didn't raise no fool.
Nope. I kind of wanted, when she was telling the story about bribing the official, for Dukat to fuck up and go, I knew it! I mean, shit.
No, he knew. He knew the whole time, and that's why he brought up the story.
No, I know, but
this is a way that Winn will think she's awesome, and that we're destined to be together because Bajorans love destiny so much.
Yeah,
it was an okay episode.
Yeah, it is interesting that a little more of a, because again we've had maybe 2 mentions of what happened during the occupation with her. Because previously she'd mentioned in around, she didn't get into specifics, but it sounds like her order had a lot of trouble under the occupation. And now we know that in some way, in their own way, they tried to help out by using some of the jewels to bribe people.
Yeah, that was something I didn't really see coming from.
Yeah, that is surprising
Winn
from
at
her.
all. You'd think that she would just keep her nose down, knuckle through.
Yeah.
Not try to fight it in any way.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, relatively speaking, one of the safer ways, because I'm sure there was a middleman handling the jewels. And if anything ever came up, they could be like, we were robbed.
Oh no, our jewels.
So, as we sort of talked about a bit earlier, the Breen changes everything?
I know.
Yeah,
I
what
said
the fuck
same
does that
thing.
mean?
So let me see if I'm forgetting anything. We first have the Breen mentioned in TNG, in that episode where the boy befriends Data.
Yep.
There was a Breen scene in that 2-parter in the cell when, Garak went looking for his dad.
Yeah, and he ends up in that claustrophobia closet.
Yeah, and it turns out Julian's there and all this, and there's a Breen
shadow, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah. And there's a Breen just who's there asleep most of the time, and then sacrifices themselves.
And
there's some Breen. It's a Breen camp that Zial is working at.
Yeah.
That's every appearance of them, pretty much, right?
Well,
there may have been
was willing to
Yeah, there's probably been some other name drops I'm forgetting, but they're not they have never been presented as this major force that people have been desperate to get on their side, and all of a sudden this changes everything.
Well, yeah, but if one of them was willing to sacrifice themselves for a group of Starfleet and Starfleet adjacent people, maybe they were at least, if not outward, like just straight up allies, at least like, you know,
well, yeah, but it's just
a race of decent people who, you know.
But it's just like it's this group we've kind of heard of in passing, but have never been given any indication as to their like size or military strength or anything. Like, I'd have been less confused if it was like the Nausicaans.
The Sheliak.
Yeah, like anybody who just like, we at least know the Nausicaans are like crazy murder people.
What about the mouth breathers there? What are they called? You know the ones I mean. No.
Oh, the blue guys with the little vents?
Yeah, them.
I think
not the Packlets.
I think they're in the Federation,
Yeah,
so.
the
good.
Benzites.
The Benzites, yes.
That's
it.
But like, you know, the Sheliak, who seem fairly powerful.
Yeah,
like
the Zenkethi.
Kevin Angstrom or whatever. Oh boy. Whoever has
The
him on their
Borg.
side wins. What did you say, Jake?
The Borg.
Yeah. So just to have it be like the Breen is just so like.
Yes,
The
and
Andorians. We've heard of them.
Although I think they're also
the
actively. They're a founder of the Federation. They're definitely in the Federation.
Well, what about is the Orion Syndicate / the Orions already working with them?
They're kind of their
They're
own
just working
faction.
for their own interests. Yeah, I don't know. My impression with the Breen is that it's like they're kind of a reclusive power in the quadrant. You know?
Yeah,
they're pretty powerful, but they kind of keep to themselves and don't start shit.
Yeah.
So the idea that they're like, I think the whole point of it is that it's a wild card. You know,
Fair.
The Federation would never see this because their assumption is just, oh, the Breen, you know, they're off in their own, they're doing their own thing.
Yeah, we don't talk to them. We don't know
So
what
now
their
it's like-
faces look like.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of the problem. Is like I think that's the best way to put it. They're a wild card. So I was like, yes, this does change everything. In whose favor? Who knows?
I mean, definitely not the Federation's favor.
I mean, it's a thumb
unless
on the
they're
scale.
like infamously terrible in battle and just fuck everything up. Like
that would be amazing.
they're like, oh yes, we formed this great alliance, and then it turns out they're really bad flyers, and they just bang into everybody else's ships at ramming speed and like fuck everything up.
No, what would be great is if instead of the Breen, it was the Ferengi, but the Dominion had only gotten briefed on like the early version of the Ferengi.
No.
Oh no!
So like they show up with their electric whips and they're like,
Oh man.
I bet the Breen are very, very fluffy under those helmets.
That was Ezri's suggestion, wasn't it?
Scritches. Oh yeah, she did say that, didn't
Yeah,
she?
she said
Yeah,
they might
must
have
have like
fur.
dog mouths or something because
Yeah,
their masks
based
have
on
like
wolves.
a muzzle.
That's right. You said that in the episode with Cial.
Well, either their masks indicate that, or they're just furries.
No, but the mask was based on a particular type of wolf, apparently.
I know. I'm just making a joke about people that have puppet masks.
Fair.
And people who have like a pet kink and stuff like that.
Bow wow.
Actually, they have perfectly normal, like, humanoid faces, but that's just where they keep their lunch. They're kind of like horses. They just stick their
It's a
face
food
into a
bag.
bag.
Yeah, but they never take off the mask, which is interesting, even on their own ship.
Maybe they're all Phantoms of the Opera.
The only thing I could think of is like maybe they just cannot breathe the same air that other species can breathe.
Like Tali in Mass Effect.
Yeah, they also made a comment since no one has seen their face, and then like on Memory Alpha, that they're like, yeah, but Kira and Dukat took their helmets, so they
Said the
must
same
have-
thing.
He did say the same thing.
They must have seen them. To which I say, yeah, but they were, like humble and turned their heads away. Come on.
Well, my suggestion was, since they haven't yet told the tale, as long as they die before telling the tale, technically living to tell the tale would still not be satisfied.
Maybe whatever they saw under the helmets was just so horrifying that they couldn't bring themselves to. They like swore a pact to never speak of it.
Or maybe seeing it like removes your memory of having seen it.
It's so awful. It's like how the body kind of tricks you into forgetting how bad pain is. It's like that. In which case, I'm right. They are Phantoms of the Opera under there.
Alternately, they are stunningly handsome, but so handsome that the mind can't comprehend it and it breaks, like the opposite of a Medusan.
Like angels. Aren't angels meant to be like that? Well, I guess they're awful.
Depends upon the tradition.
Well, one of the traditions says that they're like absolutely fucking beautiful. Whichever tradition brought us Michael, the film Michael.
I think that's the medieval tradition, maybe a little later.
Beautiful, beautiful angels. And apparently he smells like chocolate chip cookies or some bullshit.
Oh, I only saw that dumbass movie once.
There's a movie called Michael starring John Travolta where he comes down to Earth and he's Michael the Archangel. And he smells like whatever like a woman's favorite smell is.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, how does he smell like chocolate chip cookies when chocolate chip cookies were invented after angels were invented?
Angels weren't invented. They were born of the Lord. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Sure. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. Actually, I guess probably they were invented. He probably made them out of mud or some shit. No, that's people. What did he make angels out of?
I don't
His
know.
holy farts?
I couldn't tell you. Whatever he made the prophets out of.
Anyway, there you go. Don't know. Point is, absolutely beautiful, mind-blowingly gorgeous, could be like that.
Breen.
You know, like John Travolta. Question mark.
But yes, the show has several weeks to try to prove to us that this is, in fact, an earth-shattering alliance.
Yeah, and about like... Say again?
Said literally.
Oh, I see. Cute. Yeah, and I read a whole bunch of quotes about how they had to work together to make this whole 10-part thing because they knew this is going to have to be a whole serial event because we have a lot to wrap up.
Yeah.
You can't wrap up the war in just the finale. We've got to like make sure that we've spaced this out. And the whole time the writers are like, we have no idea if we can pull this off because everything keeps changing. We know like what we wanted. We know the end goal. We've got 10 episodes to fill it out during. And then like Ron Moore's wife went into labor like a month early. So he had to like stop work on next week's episode would be I believe Strange Bedfellows. Whatever one of the ones we're covering next week. He has to leave early and basically say, "Okay, guys, you guys deal with this. I have to go be with my wife. Bye."
Oh, children ruin everything.
They do.
So something I noticed, and I don't know if it was like an error or if there was a reason for it, but when Solbor introduces Bajoran Dukat, he introduces him as Anjol Tenan. But then, throughout the rest of the episode, Winn addresses him as Anjol as if that's his first name. When really, she should probably, unless she's being very formal in calling him by his last name.
Does she switch to calling him Tenan after they do the do?
I don't think so. I think she just calls him Anjol as if that's
and she told him to call her Adami. So.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if they fucked up. If it should have been Tenan Anjol.
Oh, maybe.
And wait. What are you saying, though? I thought you said it's like she's just using his first name.
Well, yeah, but the way he was...
he was introduced as Anjol Tenan.
Oh, okay.
Because Bajoran names are reversed.
I see. Yeah, they must have just fucked English up names. Then. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like little things. Like I noticed... Yeah,
they're getting sloppy a little bit.
Like Ben's badge is way too far to the left. In both episodes.
Yeah.
And I noticed actually a few weeks ago and forgot to mention that one week they fucked up Ezri's pips and had the hollow pip in front of the solid pip when it's the other way around.
Oh, no.
And briefly this week, she had 2 solid pips. She was a full lieutenant for like one shot.
That's what you get when you steal runabouts. Yeah. I like your gusto. Here's a pip.
Yeah. Speaking of runabouts, can you imagine... whoever it is at Starfleet that like has to requisition runabouts for Deep Space Nine, like, God damn it, this is the 15th one.
I have a great story on that. And that originally this runabout was supposed to be the Ganges, but then someone comes up and says, "Hey, the Ganges was already one of our runabouts, and it got utterly destroyed in Armageddon game."
Amazing.
You're like, this is another one? Okay, fine. We'll rename it. We'll rename it the Gander because it's very, very similar.
But that's not a river.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
It's a river in Canada.
Wow. Oh, hey, and look at the Canadians at the helm, so it's perfect. Yeah, I remember when Odo was like, why aren't you going to stop her and all that? And then after that conversation, I just wanted to go, so sir, can we talk again about maybe actually locking these things up?
Yeah, no kidding.
At all, ever? Or should I just give a key to literally everyone on the fucking station at this point?
Everyone gets their own runabout that they can destroy as many times as they like, and it'll always come back.
Yeah.
Turns out that if you're an officer in Starfleet, you can pretty much go anywhere and do anything.
Yeah.
You can go into like somebody's quarters and just poke around and look at their shit and photos of their dead wife.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this during the episode with Loss, Odo's other changeling friend. Because when he goes off, Odo just takes a ship, goes out to meet him on a planet and say, yeah, it was nice knowing you, but, I'm staying with Kira, bye. No one went with Odo. Odo just went by himself. Idiots. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that case, it makes a little more sense because ostensibly he was just helping with the search efforts.
They should never have anyone alone in a ship. They should always have a second.
That is beyond true, I agree. Especially since the Klingons were already like, we don't trust Odo to handle this.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, the protocols don't make sense. Although, it is possible maybe the only reason Ezri got into the room was because Worf forgot to change their door code or something.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I thought she had to, override it. Like, she had to do, it was lot, and she had to do,
oh, you're right.
Authorized Dax 355 or whatever.
Someone needs counseling desperately.
I wonder if she could get into your room with that, actually.
Yeah.
Like if someone was in crisis,
Yeah, because I know,
sure there's
I know
medical
Bashir
override.
can.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I bet she could.
Bashir pulled that with his girlfriend because he's a creep.
You could also just beam in.
True.
I suppose.
Yeah, if you really
beam
wanted.
Out the person.
Yeah, I guess there's really no point in locking your door in a world with teleporters.
Yeah.
Well, then you have to make sure whoever is operating the teleporter pad is willing to do this for you.
No, but they can always be set to automatic.
Why are we calling them teleporters all of
I don't know.
know.
Sorry,
Someone just
transporters. My fault.
Because I usually get them mixed up from time to time, but I knew it wasn't me this time.
I feel like in that case, there should be some kind of authorization if you need to teleport into someone's room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just teleport or transport anywhere. There should be some authorization.
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it.
I'm sure they were probably called teleporters at least once at some point in TOS. But yeah, transporters.
Does it strike anybody else as a little odd that, it's one thing I think when Worf serves aboard a Klingon ship, because, that there's precedent for allies serving aboard other allies' vessels in times of war. That's not that unusual. But it does seem a little unusual that he's commanding a Klingon ship.
I don't know. A lot of them have been getting killed. There aren't enough left.
Yeah.
Maybe. We really need a commander, and the crew won't take orders from a human, so...
And didn't they say Alexander just got promoted? I mean, they must really be scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, boy.
Nice.
I love that even Worf was like, they were shorthanded. That's the only reason
When
he
you
got
say
the job.
even Worf, you mean especially Worf? Because if anybody is going to be like, yeah, that little pussy didn't deserve it, it's going to be him.
It's, just to have him acknowledge it out loud is always funny.
Is Alexander technically a member of Martok's house?
Yes.
Oh, well, then he shouldn't be talking shit.
Ooh.
Martok knows what he's inherited.
Oh my god, did you guys notice that Ezri pulled a check off when she stole the roundabout? I can't hear you through all this storm. There's blizzard outside, Captain.
Oh, was it Chekhov? I thought it was Sulu that pulled that nonsense.
No, that was definitely Chekhov.
I couldn't remember.
Okay, we both thought of the same scene, though, because I said, okay, Sulu, but I had the wrong...
See...
They were together in the scene, but yeah, Chekhov was the one on the horn.
No, Sulu wasn't there. It was Chekhov and Uhura.
No, it was Chekhov and Sulu together. They're talking to Uhura, yeah.
Oh,
that
yes,
I'm sure
okay,
of.
Fair.
But you're right, it was Chekhov doing the talking, not Sulu.
Yeah, Chekhov making a blizzard.
They're also there was a cut scene, I think, where because it always seems like they're also at Yosemite, but they're actually somewhere else entirely, but that was cut, so. Not that much. But yes, we both thought of the same scene during that.
Yeah, from 5.
I mean, both of them were ripping off Han Solo, though, right? He was the original.
We're fine.
We can't hear you.
We're fine here. We can't.
Largely correct. How are you?
I was annoyed by that scene because she was doing it wrong. You wouldn't say, oh, hey, there's lots of interference. I'm really having trouble hearing you. It isn't the static equivalent of over. You have to be like, oh, I'm really having some hearing you. Oh, you're and trying to get back. Like, you can't just fucking throw it at the end of a sentence like it's some kind of fucking idiot punctuation.
This is Ezri. She doesn't know how to do it. She's used to
clearly.
being a goody two shoes.
Well, I figure she also knew
one more
that,
reason I don't like her.
I can't imagine she thought that anybody would buy it for a second either.
Yeah,
so like, it
especially
was
Ben.
really just she should have just not picked up the phone when they called.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually said that. You were like, you're answering?
Yeah, I was like, don't answer that phone.
Yeah, no.
I did appreciate, though, they even kind of acknowledged past escape attempt things in the scene with the Breen. She was like, my cellmate is sick ploy didn't work. I'll find a piece of metal and short circuit the lock didn't work. You know, things we've seen time and again in Star Trek, especially the original series.
I mean, I honestly think jumping the guard would have worked.
Well, if you had two Klingons, or at least a Klingon and someone who wasn't
only
Ezri.
one of the guards looked armed, so you just jump that one.
I thought they all had little cattle prods.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I feel like in that one, that was when they brought them the food, and one of them was carrying the food paste
That's true.
cans, and the
But
other
then how
one
are you
had
going to
the
eat the
prod.
food?
That's good. That's a good point.
That delicious algae paste.
Sounds absolutely disgusting, by the way.
But the
It was
other
very
thing, too, though,
upsetting.
is like, they don't, apparently the Breen do not speak in a way that the universal translators can work.
Oh, yeah.
Although,
Wayun understands
Wayun can
them.
understand them, so he must just have learned, he just got the Rosetta Stone CD and figured it out.
Or the Dominion
Worked on
has
his
better...
Breen. Oh, that's possible, too, yeah.
Yeah, they just have better translators.
Better tech.
But it doesn't seem like Ezri or Worf can understand them.
Yeah.
So what happened in the interrogation chamber?
That's what I wonder.
Oh, right, they were reading their minds.
Oh yeah, it was a mind probe. That's why it was bringing back all of their thoughts to the surface.
And that's why we had to make it a fucking dream sequence. Goddamn bullshit.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, so at this point then, other than the mind probes, which didn't start until later, how do they even know that they're prisoners? They could very well just be like being taken out of Breen territory.
I mean, to be fair, they shot them first.
Yeah.
And also they're locked in one little room.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have anything nice like creature comforts.
Yeah. I mean, then again, the Breen, maybe, we don't know. Maybe that's just to them the height of luxury, but yeah, no, it doesn't seem likely. Mostly the we shot you thing. Well, yes. He also liked singing opera in that pod of his.
I thought that was a cute moment.
It was.
Oh yeah, that was the bickering I've been done with the Ezri Worf bickering, the Jadzia Worf bickering.
Yeah.
All the bickering lines just sounded the same as the previous bickering lines we've heard before.
Yeah.
Ezri is the worst counselor. She asks him, "What was it like being in an escape pod all by yourself?" It's like, Ezri, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're so bad at your
shat
job.
myself a lot.
Get me a clean pair of pants. Man, I've been pissing down both legs.
You know, we know that the transporter has biofilters to filter out like diseases. Maybe it also filters out poop and piss.
Maybe.
Yikes.
You always come out of the teleporter clean.
Yeah.
I get transporter.
Well,
What
I
the fuck?
think so. You would, wouldn't you? Because isn't it like a save and a reboot? I would think you'd come back clean.
I mean, there is precedent. We have had people come through like with soot from battle and
But surely
shit,
not
so,
poop in the butt.
So it's a bit, inconsistent, potentially.
Yeah, the other thing I read about the whole Worf Ezri thing is, as usual, after a night of passionate romance or whatever qualifies for them these days, they wake up fully clothed. And the reason they did that was because they didn't want to have to deal with full body makeup for Worf.
For Worf? Not
Yeah.
Ezri?
Ezri's just spots. Worf is prosthetics and stuff and several
ever
dicks.
Have we ever seen him naked? What kind of prosthetics would they be putting on his body?
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
his
we've
feet.
seen We've seen his feet are ridged.
Yep.
And we've seen Kern's chest, which is ridged.
Oh, it is? I forgot about that.
I also forgot.
So it stands to reason that Worf would also have a ridged torso.
God, no wonder the sex is so painful. Sounds like fucking a cheese grater with 2 dicks.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry, Ames. I'm just calling it like I see it.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing I didn't mention. In the summary, of course, is the founders are still ill and getting worse.
Oh God, so scabby. Yuck.
Yeah, like she's losing. The female changeling is losing all control. Her sort of shirt is turning into herself. They've had some Vorta doctors working on it. She had
but not well enough, apparently.
Yeah. She had to pick off a chunk of scab that turned into goo.
I loved the detail when she orders Weyoun, have all the Vorta doctors killed and activate their next clone so we can have a fresh set of eyes. And I'm like, holy shit. Excellent.
And Weyoun was like, holy shit, too.
Do you think
there's not really a way to genocide the Vorta because there's more of them. Because you're not actively getting rid of the Vorta in that way.
So this begs the question, are there breeds of Vorta? Like, we've met the, diplomat Vorta, who we know have bad vision, no sense of taste, but excellent hearing. Are the doctors bred differently? Like, I'd want my scientists to have good vision, for example.
Especially if they're doing surgery.
And maybe a really good sense of smell, just in case the chemicals are doing something funny. So, do you think that maybe, we've only seen these, the diplomat ones, but there's differences for, your doctor Vorta?
That's probable, I would say.
Yeah, maybe not huge differences, but again, I imagine you'd, maybe want your scientists who are going to be looking at microscopic crap all day through microscopes or whatever to have good vision.
Yeah, the fact that it's still Vorta is a little strange, considering the Dominion basically has control over... Oh, good, the rest of the Gamma Quadrant isn't with us, though, is the thing. Because they're still sealed off from the wormhole. So they have who they have.
Although we know from the female changeling that the Great Link is also infected.
Yeah.
So she somehow knows that. Or maybe they had already started getting sick before she came through the wormhole.
Oh, boy, I don't know. Yeah, I do
also,
remember... Go ahead.
Good.
No, I'm changing the subject.
Oh, before... even before, though, all this, it seems like they probably mostly deal with the rest of the universe through the Vorta. So, I don't know, maybe they just prefer dealing with them as much as possible. And, we'd rather have these scientists that we have clones of and worship us as gods than, trusting any of our client species. You feel like they conquer people to control them, not necessarily to benefit from them, you know?
Unlike does that make them different then from the Borg in that way?
And most conquerors, really.
I suppose so.
They're just weird fuckers.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of this last 10-parter. The thing I do remember is anytime we talk with, the Dominion folks, like Weyoun and Damar and Changeling Lady, it just feels like, and now we go back to their planning room scene where they're just doing plotting, but they're so apart from everybody else.
Yeah.
And it ends up feeling very static to me, because they're always apart, and it's only them. Although now maybe Worf and Ezri get to hang out with them, so maybe that'll be fun.
And, we'll see, to what depths of shit-faced Damar can get.
Very.
I just feel like I'm just, really jonesing for more. When this was over, I was like, no. I did like the wedding. The wedding was nice.
Yeah, it was nice for a little wedding. Although, Sisko's mom had to show up and try to ruin it.
Typical mothers. Meanwhile, fucking Bashir's just staring daggers at the Admiral the whole time and no one knows why.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, what is this fucking guy still doing here? And Chris was like, well, Bashir's probably the only one that knows what a fucker he is. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I noticed, I think we mentioned this last time we saw Sarah, but she's definitely different than the other prophets.
Yeah.
Clearly her time as masquerading as a human has had a lasting impact. You know, she doesn't talk to the Sisko. She doesn't speak in riddles.
She called him my son.
Yeah.
She considers him her son and like clearly cares about him specifically.
Yeah.
Well,
it's also interesting that the other prophets, like none of the other prophets show up when she's there. It's just her and him, which is interesting.
That bitch. I don't know. I just think of her as A, I think of her as that bitch, and B, I think of her as that plot device.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. It's like she's somewhat less cryptic. She does refer to him as the Sisko once or twice, but yeah, doesn't really address him as that as such. Like, she's aware that that's his title amongst the others.
Yeah, she seems to understand time more than any of the other prophets.
Yeah, because she presumably... Sorry.
No, I'm done.
Presumably, experienced it. Like, when she was with Sarah, she maybe actually was locked out of non-time for a bit, and that probably fucked with her head.
Yeah, like, I know we had to explain time and baseball and people and everything to all the other prophets. So does that mean she hasn't been in contact with all the other prophets ever?
Well, I think she was trapped in the orb, wasn't she? She was trapped in the...
Dude, I don't fucking know.
The orb of the emissary. It was buried on...
This is a whole lot of magical bullshit.
Started with a T.
Well, then there's the issue that once she's out either way, like, when she's not Sarah, time doesn't apply to her just as much as it doesn't apply to the other prophets. So, like, we never know exactly when the other prophets have interacted with it. Or maybe even having been human and being a prophet, like, explaining time is still just... Maybe it was one of those things. She understood it in the moment, but can't now that she's a prophet again.
I don't know. I feel like, and this is just another a problem with the prophets. If they can see through time, then Sisko has explained time to them before. Yeah. Therefore, they know what time is. Therefore, Sisko doesn't have to explain time to them.
And I've gone cross-eyed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think they are not linear, but I don't know if they're necessarily omniscient in terms of time.
Omnitemporal,
yeah.
They're not Dr. Manhattan. They're not experiencing all time at once.
Yeah, it might just be that they have a fourth dimensional component and can kind of jump around and look at different things and exist in different times. I don't know. It isn't very clear.
It is not.
But it's also not necessarily... I don't think it necessarily has to be very clear, and if we're not thinking too much about it.
Yeah, I thought Sisko was very, very silly when he's all like, I'm buying a house on Bajor. This wasn't part of the master plan, but I'm doing it anyway. And I'm like, you're the son of a prophet. The master plan has been already dictated. You can't affect anything. Yeah. Shut up.
But he did get to play with his little Playmobil house, which was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice dollhouse.
I love that he not only was designing the house, but pre-planning tchotchkes and furniture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really wanted the prophet experience to be inside the dollhouse.
That would have been fun.
Agreed. It would have been fun. Here's what made me annoyed / confused. If Sisko has already basically decided, I'm going to live with you, we're going to live in the house, we're going to do this, why do the prophets give a shit if he's married? Like, really? Like, if it really doesn't change anything, if their relationship was always kind of going to go this way, why does a legally binding marriage have any effect whatsoever on the prophets, their plans for Sisko? Like, why does it matter? I just don't get why they care.
I don't know that it necessarily matters to the prophets. It matters to Sarah because she cares about Sisko.
Oh, well, she's a creep and she needs to fucking cut the cord already.
No, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I think the prophets... I think she knows how it's gonna go for Sisko. Like she knows what's gonna happen, and it'll be worse for him if he's married to Kasidy, or at least that's how I see it.
Okay, but like, as a side note, like, if Kasidy, I don't know, dies in the war, it's gonna suck no matter what, whether they're married or not. It isn't like your feelings for someone are
But there's more paperwork if you're married.
Sure. That's true.
Yeah, well, maybe he's smart. Maybe they have life
policy. Yeah.
I was gonna say, maybe they have life insurance policies and it's gonna make him a very rich man. Like, I guess I'm just saying that, like, I don't understand the point of, like they were already together. It wasn't like this was some big new thing, really. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just
maybe
kind of
we'll find
annoyed
out
by
over the
it.
course of the remainder
Well,
of the
maybe
show.
Maybe so, but I'm annoyed by it. And if it's really just Sarah being a fucking annoying mom, she needs to cut the shit. Because that's disgusting.
Do you think Sisko has little dollies of him and Kasidy and he plays with them in the house?
Makes them fuck.
I didn't see you playing with your dolls again, sir.
I'm imagining that scene in Family Guy where The Rock has the lowest doll and your doll and he just slams them together to show sex. That's what I think Sisko does all day.
You know who else got a name drop this episode?
Captain Baudet.
Sona.
Oh, the Sona. Shit.
They mentioned I missed that.
Yeah, Wei Yun was apparently the Sona are now officially allied with the Dominion.
Oh.
That changes everything, doesn't it?
Everything.
That I would have bought more than the Breen.
But who are the Sona?
They were the motherfuckers in Insurrection.
F. Murray Abraham with the melty face.
Stretch face people.
Weird.
That's a good callback.
Like, see, if a Sona was there, they're like, this changes everything, I'd be like, yeah, they had some pretty potent shit. That could be a problem.
Yeah. That said, again, like the Sona...
How many are there, though?
Right, because they were only the children of that colony of not that many people.
Yeah, they had like their own little baby empire. So, I mean, there could be some we hadn't seen that still chose to not go back at the end of Insurrection.
Yeah, I suppose that's a possibility.
But yeah, you're right. It's still though, even then, at least it's like somebody that like we have some concept of like who they are and what their strength is.
Yes,
you know?
You are the bad guy. Check off. Breen, we don't fucking know.
Yeah, you again are, I don't care what they say, it is a fucking knockoff of that bounty hunter costume, and it's really distracting.
Really? The Dominion should have just teamed up with the Empire if they were gonna, get an ally from Star Wars.
Seriously,
the Empire's got all kinds of great shit.
The First Federation, bring them out of mothballs.
There you
go.
Tranya for everyone.
Those weird eye stalk aliens from Spectre of the Gun.
Oh right, yeah.
The Horda.
Oh, the shitheads from The Outcast. I feel like they'd like the Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
The Horda. That's good. Sorry, it took me a minute.
There was a whole section of this episode in which it's literally just Sisko going person to person recounting what the prophet said. Because he tells Jake, and it's like, what do I do? And Jake's like, I don't fucking know, Dad. This is your problem. And then him telling Kasidy and being like, what should I do? And Kasidy's like, you realize this is my life. God damn it. She storms off. Good for her. Yeah. And he's telling Kira, oh, here's a thing that happened. And we're like, we've all seen the thing that happened. This is getting very repetitive.
Well, and also, like, we know how Jake was going to feel about it, because Jake was already on the fence about all the prophet shit, and we knew that Kasidy was going to be like, what the fuck do you think? Because she wants to get fucking married. And we knew that Kira was going to be a mopey wet fucking blanket about it, because she buys into the prophet thing. So, like, talking to the people whose advice you already know is not helpful. Ask some other people
go ask
whose
O'Brien.
Opinions you might find questionable.
Exactly. I was like, go talk to O'Brien. He's the most down-to-earth person on the station.
Get Quark's opinion.
Yeah.
Quark actually just wants to sell you the catering package, so maybe not trust him.
I joke that he's the one that made sure that the news got to Bajor so that he could try to somehow profit off of it.
Quark. Okay, I get that now. Oh, that's good. I did love, there was the moment when Quark brings the ring to Sisko to say, non-refundable ring, it's a shame it's not going to get used. And I was like, but I'll marry you.
I was kind of waiting for him to be like, maybe I could have it for Ezri.
I think that was honestly like the closest Quark could ever come to being like, come on, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Come on, dude, I want to cater your wedding.
He's done that subtle advice thing with Odo a lot before, too. Like, I feel like he would always...
Bartender.
He is a good bartender.
And actually, even you pointed out, he was being not creepy at Ezri, at the beginning, being like, of course he'll be back. He's not going to go to Sto-Vo-Kor owing me money.
Yeah, that was really sweet. I was like, good for you.
Which felt like the Quark we had gotten to know instead of the reversion they had fallen into for a while. So that was nice.
Oh, we also got mention again of Captain Baudet.
Yeah.
With the transparent skull.
Okay, I'm sure you guys hated it, but why does she ever see him? Oh, his brains. It's like, yes, O'Brien.
No, that was good. That was
ultimate. It's such a dad joke that it was just beautiful. I'm glad everyone liked it.
Yeah, I was actually a little surprised that they used Terry Farrell's voice lines. In like the scene where she was deciding to go get Worf.
Why is that surprising to you?
I don't know. I just because I don't want to spoil anything. But
shit! Damn it!
There's a lot of.
Well, don't then. Do I need to take off my headphones? I don't want to be spoiled.
No, you're not. I'm not going to spoil shit. It's just the whole Terry Farrell leaving the show thing just seemed very much like, yeah, we're just gonna kind of forget that Terry Farrell was ever on the show.
So you think Ezri should have delivered those lines?
No. I know. I'm surprised. I'm glad that they had just Terry Farrell's lines. I was surprised.
That's just more like
the show did that.
It's more royalties they got to pay her.
Yeah.
See, exactly. I don't think they're trying to pretend Terry Farrell never happened or anything, because Jadzia comes up all the time.
Jadzia comes up, the character, but Terry Farrell, the actress, doesn't come up.
Why would the actress come up in the show?
Well, in this instance, it came up as a voice line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that was the character. I don't know.
I'm a little confused as well.
If this is you trying not to spoil something.
You'll understand when you're older.
God damn it. Damn it.
I don't quite know what he's getting at either. I can't remember. But even just with that, like, to me, I kind of get what you're saying, where it's like, they sort of, obviously you're going to remember, you're going to think about it, but like, they don't want as much maybe overlap, because you actually hear her voice, you actually see her photo, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's the better model we used to have.
Aw. We saw Duran. Duran got to be around for an episode.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That was never a good model.
I don't think they'd bring back Terry Farrell as a guest actor to see. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
If they had brought back Terry Farrell to help hunt for Worf.
When is Ezri's Jantara? When she gets to meet all the past hosts. And then we see Terry Farrell.
Season 8 episode.
Oh no, because they possess bodies. That wouldn't happen. Stupid Trill culture. I fucking can't stand it.
So there's actually...
I bet you Odo's like counting the days until they have the...
He gets to be Curzon again.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, my boy Kersey.
It's the most inconsistent way to portray the fucking Trill. Anyway, what were you going to say, Chris?
It's like the most tangentially related thing, but there was this really awkward kind of thing in old Doctor Who where they killed a character off, but they were still like in their contract, they had one more episode. So like they very awkwardly brought the character back as like an illusion a villain was making. And like you could tell the actor just didn't want to fucking be there.
Who was it?
Adric.
Oh, okay. I wondered if it was Adric.
But yeah, they
didn't want to be there. Of course he didn't fucking want to be there. They killed him off because people hated the fuck out of him.
Yeah, or like when Tasha Yar comes back and you're like, wait, you're dead. But you get to still be back.
Well, that was different. She wanted to come back. This was like, they sat him down. They're like, we're not renewing your contract. P.S. We're killing you on your second to last contractually required appearance.
P.P.S. Everyone hates you, including us.
So it's just like, wow, that's strange. I feel like it would be kind of like, yeah, it was just a strange choice they made.
All right, guys, let's agree to never fuck up like this again. Cut to them hiring Colin Baker. Son of a bitch. I mean, he's good now, but man.
Yeah, no, Adric
Sorry, Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah, Adric was the original Wesley Crusher.
God, he was...
Except he was
really awful. Like, he was just...
the thing
unwatchable.
Is, the thing is, he was specifically kind of like... Unlike Wesley, who was, Gene Roddenberry's, like, Marty Stew stand-in by some accounts, Adric was specifically designed to be, like, a fuck you to annoying fanboys. I was like, yeah... So you made an annoying character. Well done. Anyway, Star Trek.
Yeah, is there anything else? Oh, I had an interesting note in that. So the first episode of the 10-parter is called Penumbra.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty title. It means like half in shade, half in shadow, half not in shadow.
Right.
And they
right,
wanted,
right.
originally when they were planning out the 10-parter, they said, okay, and then the next episode will be called Umbra, and then the next episode will be called Eclipse. But then the writers couldn't keep them straight when they were talking about what happens in what episode, and it turned into a whole who's on first thing. And they're like, no, Penumbra. Umbra? No, Eclipse! Until it was impossible for them to understand each other in the writing room, and they changed the titles of the subsequent episodes.
I mean, to be fair, even with separate titles, I'm already having trouble keeping them apart, so...
Yeah, it's going to get more complicated.
Does anyone have
There's
anything?
a lot going
Not
on,
really.
but so far we're still able to keep it in line.
Yeah.
Which is better than I can say about any of Discovery.
Well, and to this point too, like it's all very surface level. It's like, yeah, we're all wondering what the fuck they mean by the Breen changes everything.
Yeah,
like
like-
who
They
the
are
fuck
too.
knows? But aside from that, like there's no real mystery here. Like it's been clear. We're getting the characters that we know and love to hate and hate to love, and Gul Dukat, who is now
in
ribbed for
all categories.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly, and who is now ribbed for your pleasure.
Oh, actually, that does one thing, Caitlin, you brought up, and I couldn't remember. Is this the first time we've seen Winn since she fucked up the fight between the Power Wraith and the Prophet ages ago?
Did I bring that up?
You did.
I don't think.
Oh
I don't
wow,
think we have
I don't
seen
even
her.
remember bringing that up.
Yeah, I didn't think
Yeah,
so. But
imagine showing up and being like, "Hey, heard you were getting married. Oh, that shit with the pirates? No, don't worry about that. Yeah."
Well,
No,
she
it's in
probably's
the
like, I
past.
saved your fucking son, asshole.
well, so she thinks. I mean, yeah.
I don't know. She allowed the Paw Wraith to remain in existence and go kill Jadzia.
If
And how
she-
does that motherfucker repay her? By showing up and fucking with her.
Yeah.
And then actually fucking her.
Oh, yowza. Yeah, I honestly, like, I was like, oh man, like earlier on in the episode, I was like, are they gonna bang? Is he gonna legitimately bang Kai Winn? I mean, he will fuck any Bajoran. And then all of a sudden they're making out, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh
He
my
is
prophets.
Fucking Kai Winn. And you know, honestly, maybe that's all she really needed. Maybe she just needed a good deep dicking. Maybe it'll make her nicer. Who knows?
I don't know.
know
She
about
was
that.
getting that from, oh god, that guy we were talking about.
Terrence Stamp, yeah.
Who?
More like mushroom stamp, am I right?
That was
The season 3 opener? Where her and the circle guy were trying to start a revolt.
wasn't Terrence Stamp.
But we are talking about the same character, even though I have the wrong
I
actor,
think
right?
so, because
'Cause
I
they were
don't
definitely
know
fucking.
the actor you're talking about.
Wait, so who was Kai Winn fucking? I don't remember her fucking anybody.
Remember there was the guy that was like, he was a military guy and he turned out to be an opportunist, and he was a leader of the circle that was opposed to Bajor joining the Federation. And they were going to do a terrorist. They were terrorists. They were going to take over the government.
Frank Langella, that's who played him.
Yeah, Frank Langella. Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
This guy? This, like I said, this was like the opening of, I think, season 3. It was a multi-part thing.
There's
and-
no way he fucks.
Yeah,
it
and
was-
then Kai Winn threw him immediately under the bus.
It
And
might
she
have
was
been
all
before
him.
season
I had no
3.
idea.
It might have been season 2.
Was it?
Because wasn't season 3 opener
the
the
search.
one where we find the search?
Yeah, it must have
Oh,
been
you're-
season 2.
Shit, so it probably is. Fuck.
Yeah, there was the
Yeah.
siege. There was the homecoming, the siege in the circle. I want to say something like that.
Yep,
In,
yep,
so-
the
in some
homecoming.
flip floppy order.
Yeah, you're right. This is, wow, that was the start of season 2. That was ages ago now.
Mm,
Man, Bajor's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
sure is.
But yes,
Better not let him in the Federation.
they pretty heavily implied that her and Frank Langella were fucking.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's, let's be honest, a better looking man. No offense, Mark.
So one thing I found interesting about Gul Dukat / Angel's demeanor is when he first meets Kai Winn, and for that first scene where he's like trying to drop all the keywords, he's playing it very much like very meekly, you know,
Yes.
like oh, I'm not worthy. But then like as soon as he's gained even the smallest amount of trust with her, he just goes back to just speaking and acting.
Yeah, he's just
Like
dishing
Yeah.
on how much he hates Sisko.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I'll casually
Well,
I'll
he knows
casually
his
drop
audience.
how much Sisko sucks.
You can't blame him for playing to his audience, and she's eating it up.
But
No,
he also likes shitting on Sisko.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
And it's also, this is great too, because it's definitely like playing into his, like, I like to think that I'm saving the Bajorans thing. So now he's got to think if he's working with her to, like, stop Sisko, he must feel pretty good about that.
But yeah, no, he, and it makes sense for him, though, you know, is like, Dukat could only hold up that pretense for so long.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense that he would drop it as soon as he thought he could get away with it.
Yeah, and she's gonna continue eating it up.
Yeah, among other things.
Yeah. So hopefully the plastic surgeon didn't stop at like the chest.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Not a Cardassian surgeon. They go all out.
Yeah, yeah.
We still have Ileana Gamor still running around somewhere.
That's true. Looking a lot like Kira.
And they gave, aren't they the ones who gave Quark real breasts? Or was that somebody else?
Wasn't that just Bashir?
Yeah, that was just Bashir.
Oh, Bashir
Well,
did that?
Bashir
Oh.
knows breasts, though, so.
Yeah.
He is a breast man. But Jake was the breast man at Sisko's wedding. Hey!
That's really, he's bummed he didn't get to plan a bachelor party.
Yeah, that's the thing. That would have been kind of creepy. I feel like,
My God,
hey,
you can
Dad,
do
let's go look at some
anything.
titties
They
together.
would just go to Vix. It would be lame.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
actually thinking that too, but then I thought, I mean, I know that Sisko and Vic, sang a song that time, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's ready for that to be the spot for his
No, you know what it would have been? Knowing this show and it's like wholesome take
a
on there.
baseball fucking game.
No, it would have been that fishing hole from the pilot that we actually haven't seen since.
I completely forgot about any fishing hole, so.
Yep. It's when they first get to the station, he's like, can we bring the fishing hole? And Sisko's like, sure. And they would have sat there with some Romulan ale, got a little tipsy, and fished. Kind of wish we had that scene now. Would have been sweet.
No. Fishing is even more boring than baseball. And that
Not
is
that.
saying
I mean, the
something.
fishing, no, but there's them sitting there and talking. But then everyone else shows up shit-faced and ruins it.
And then Vic shows up in that holodeck
As a fish.
to sing a song.
Under the sea.
No, Vic gets all confused. He shows up in that holodeck in a Davy Crockett outfit, being like, "Oh, wrong one. Sorry."
Pally.
I do love the idea of a singing Vic fish. It's like the Incredible Mr. Limpet.
Don't get it.
I've never seen that.
That is a reference that not many people are going to get, I don't think.
Really, I feel like it was on the Disney Channel all the time when we were
Really?
kids.
I feel like it's from like the 60s, isn't it? It's like
It is, but it used to be on a lot.
Is it a crustacean?
Yeah,
It's an old
crab. The
No,
cartoon.
the Incredible Mr. Limpet himself is a fish of some kind.
Oh, that's right. But there was a crab in the thing.
It's like a talking crab best friend.
Yeah, his friend was the crab. Limpet was the fish.
Yeah, it's an old Disney part live action, part animated World War II movie.
Did we already talk about
Don Knotts, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
say. I was literally just gonna say, have we already talked about the fact that it's Don Knotts? But
Yes.
apparently not.
I remember it coming up before.
Well, I meant this episode.
Yes, Don Knotts played Gul Dukat in this episode.
Wow.
Oh my god, he'd have been a terrible...
Don Knotts played all of the Breen.
There we go. Oh my god. It is kind of amazing that he never showed up in like the original series, because he was one of those in everything in the 60s actors.
I could imagine though that like the producers of Star Trek would be like, yeah, but if we put him in here, it's just gonna be distracting.
Yeah, it's true. He was pretty well known at that point for Andy Griffith.
Put him under a ton of makeup. No one will care.
There we go.
See, they didn't really
Make
do a
him
ton
a
of makeup
cartoon
in those
fish.
days, though.
He was actually a Tellarite.
There you go.
God. So do we have anything else? We've gone on to the Incredible Mr. Limpet now.
I don't think I have anything else.
All right. Well, that was a tidy one.
It was. Wonder if we'll be able to manage it so well next week.
Depends on how confusing things get. What is next week?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. Next week, we will be discussing 2 more episodes of Deep Space Nine, Strange Bedfellows, and The Changing Face of Evil.
Oh.
I feel like they should have called the episode where Gul Dukat got his makeover The Changing Face of Evil, but,
There's more.
good.
The change.
Plus, there's always shapeshifters, yeah.
Oh, God. That fucking... I'm haunted by that scene where she pulls that scab off herself.
Does she get to reintegrate with it later, or is it gone? Is it
I don't
gone?
know.
Forever?
I hope it's gone because it didn't look good.
Yeah, it was not healthy goo.
Yeah, it was the wrong color.
Yeah, it was like, as you said, it looked more like mercury than like amber or whatever it was. So, but if you like what you heard today and you want to hear more and you don't want to wait until next week, which would be understandable because we are awfully goddamn entertaining, you can give us a follow. You can follow us on Facebook by searching for A Star to Steer Her By, where we'll share things that strike our fancy that we think might strike yours as well. You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr at SSHB Podcast, or you can visit our home on the web, sshbpodcast.com. You can also subscribe to listen to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Give us a subscribe so you never miss an episode, or check out our archives. We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as Google and Apple Podcasts apps. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's usually what I say, just in a really weird order, so I fucked myself up. But yeah, until next week, I have been Caitlin.
I have been Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this is always Ames.
Sayonara, suckers.
Bye.
This changes everything.